The sky turned black at noon. People in every part of the world looked up in fear. A massive shadow covered the land. It was not a cloud. It was not a storm. It was a ship. Huge, silent, cold. A spaceship so large it looked like a floating city. It moved slowly across the sky, blocking out the sun. Birds flew away. Animals ran and hid. Even the air felt heavy. The world stopped. Satellites sent images to Earth's leaders. The object had come from deep space. No signal, no message, no warning. Then it spoke. A loud voice boomed through the sky, louder than thunder, shaking windows and hearts. "This world belongs to me now," the voice said. "Bring me your strongest warrior, or I take this planet by force." Panic spread. Every major city went dark. Power grids shut down. Internet vanished. Fighter jets were scrambled. Tanks rolled into the streets. The armies of the world joined together, ready to defend Earth. But they were not ready for him. The alien's name was Zorthan. He stood taller than any building. His skin was silver and smooth like metal. His eyes glowed red. Every step he took made the ground shake. His breath melted stone. His presence made soldiers freeze. Zorthan landed in the center of an empty desert. His ship hovered above him like a black mountain. He pointed to the sky. "You're strongest," he growled. "Send your best." The world watched in silence. Could anyone fight this monster? Within hours, Earth sent its best. First came the American Delta Force, then Russian Spetsnaz, then China's special units. Hundreds of trained fighters with the best weapons Earth had. They attacked from land, sea, and sky. Bullets bounced off Zorthan's armor. Missiles exploded without effect. Lasers and drones, tanks and jets, all failed. Zorthan raised one hand. With a wave, he sent a shockwave across the land. Soldiers flew through the air like paper. Tanks flipped. Helicopters crashed. "Is this your strength?" Zorthan laughed. "Pathetic." Earth's leaders watched in horror. Nothing worked. Their strongest warriors were broken in minutes. The world had no answer. Then came a voice. Small, soft, calm. "I will fight." People turned in surprise. Soldiers lowered their weapons. The generals looked around. A child stepped forward. A girl, maybe 10 years old. Skinny, small, with short black hair and quiet eyes. She wore a simple shirt, dirty sneakers, and a pendant around her neck. Her name was Mina. She walked forward slowly, looking at the giant in the distance. Everyone stared. Was this a joke? A mistake? A dream? "Who is this girl?" asked the soldier. "She must be lost," said another. But Mina kept walking. Her eyes did not show fear. Her hands were steady. Her steps were strong. A news camera zoomed in. The world saw her face. Calm. Brave. Zorthan noticed her. He laughed again. "You send a child to face me. Is this Earth's final joke?" Mina did not reply. She looked up at him. "You asked for the strongest," she said. "You got me." Silence fell. Was she serious? The generals called out, "Stop. Get her out of here." But she kept walking. Something was strange. As she moved, the air around her shimmered. The pendant on her neck began to glow. Just a little. Zorthan narrowed his red eyes. "What is that around your neck?" he asked. Mina did not answer. The camera zoomed closer. Scientists watching the broadcast leaned forward. Some recognized the symbol on the pendant. Ancient, powerful, forgotten. It was not just jewelry. It was something more. Zorthan stepped closer. "This child. There is something wrong," he said to himself. "I sense power." The world watched, frozen in time. Could it be? Could this tiny girl, no taller than a chair, truly stand against a giant alien? Nobody knew where she came from. Nobody knew her story. But now she stood alone, facing Earth's greatest threat. And she did not back down. The world could not believe it. A child was standing in front of Zorthan, the alien giant who had defeated all of Earth's armies. She did not run. She did not cry. She just stared at him with calm, clear eyes. News reporters tried to find out who she was. Where did she come from? Is she a government project? Why is she not afraid? But no one had answers. No name in the military, no school records, no family claims. Until one old woman spoke. "I know her," she said quietly on a live broadcast. "Her name is Mina. She is from my village." The woman lived in a small, forgotten village near the edge of the northern forest. She told the story slowly. Years ago, Mina was born during a storm. Her parents were scientists, brilliant but strange. They lived far from cities, always working on something in secret. They said they were studying the stars, but they never shared their work. People called them dreamers. Some even called them crazy. One night, a ship fell from the sky. Not a human ship. It was alien. There was fire, screams, and then silence. When the villagers came, they found nothing but a crater. Mina's house was gone. Her parents were gone too. But the baby, Mina, was alive. She was found lying inside a strange circle of glowing blue light, holding a small pendant in her tiny hands. The villagers raised her, quietly, carefully. But Mina was never like the other children. Back to present day. As Zorthan stood tall, waiting, the pendant around Mina's neck glowed brighter. World leaders demanded answers. Scientists studied the video again and again. They enlarged the image of her pendant. It had strange markings, symbols not seen on Earth for thousands of years. Then someone remembered. A secret file buried deep in Earth's history. A forgotten story. Thousands of years ago, Earth had been visited by an alien race called the Ilari, a peaceful, ancient civilization. They came to Earth not to rule, but to protect. They saw something special in humans, something no other race had. But before they left, the Ilari gave Earth a gift, a single weapon, not made of metal or fire, but of energy, mind, and spirit. They said only a pure heart could use it. And then they vanished. The weapon was never found. Until now. Mina's training begins. While the world guessed and feared, Mina was not wasting time. She returned to the forest where her old home once stood. The land was quiet, untouched. She walked to the crater, the same place she was found as a baby. The pendant glowed bright blue. Suddenly, the ground shifted. A stone door opened. Stairs led deep underground. She walked without fear. Inside, the walls lit up with soft blue light. Machines, long asleep, woke up. A voice echoed through the space. "Welcome, Mina. You have returned." It was her mother's voice, a recording. A hologram appeared. Her mother and father stood before her, smiling. "If you are hearing this, it means Earth is in danger," her mother said. "And you, Mina, you are Earth's guardian." Mina watched as the hologram explained everything. Her parents had worked with the Ilari. They hid the weapon, the pendant of the guardian, from the galaxy. Only Mina, their daughter, could unlock its power. Then a training room appeared, not for strength, but for mind, speed, and heart. Robots challenged her thoughts. Simulations tested her fear. She learned about alien languages, energy fields, and ancient powers. Meanwhile, Zorthan waits. Back on the surface, Zorthan grew impatient. "I gave you time," he roared. "Now I take your world." But before he could act, a new voice answered. "Not yet," said Mina, stepping into the sunlight. She was changed. The pendant around her neck pulsed with energy. Her eyes were focused. Her body glowed with a soft blue light. "You asked for Earth's strongest," she said. "Now I'm ready." Zorthan stared. For the first time, his smile faded. Suspense rises. The world watched with wide eyes. A girl had returned from the shadows, trained in secret, armed with forgotten power. Zorthan, the giant invader, was finally facing someone he did not understand. And that made him nervous. Zorthan stood in the burning sunlight, waiting. His ship hovered above him like a black moon. His silver armor shone, and his red eyes scanned the ground below. Then he saw her. Mina. The child had returned. She walked out from the forest, alone, but changed. She wore a black suit made of strange, glowing threads. It looked light, but strong. Her pendant pulsed with blue light, floating just above her chest. Zorthan frowned. "You again, the child with the toy." Mina didn't answer. She raised her head and looked straight into his eyes. "No more games," she said. For a moment, everything went still. Then Zorthan laughed, a deep, loud sound that echoed across the valley. "Very well. Show me what you are." He raised his arm. A giant cannon grew from his wrist. It glowed red and charged with fire. The sky burned. He fired. A beam of energy shot toward Mina like a lightning bolt. But she didn't move. At the last moment, a blue shield formed in front of her. It came from the pendant, like a bubble of light. The beam hit the shield and exploded in a burst of fire. Smoke covered everything. People watching from satellites held their breath. "She's gone," one general shouted. But when the smoke cleared, Mina was still standing. Not a scratch, not even a mark. Zorthan's smile disappeared. "Impossible." Mina raised her hand. The pendant glowed brighter. She closed her eyes and floated. Slowly, gently, her feet lifted off the ground. She began to rise. Higher and higher. The blue light around her grew stronger. Her small body was now surrounded by waves of glowing energy. Cameras zoomed in. All across the world, people leaned closer to their screens. "Is she flying?" a child asked from a shelter in Brazil. Yes, she was. The first move. Mina didn't speak. She only moved her fingers slightly. The air shimmered. Suddenly, a blast of energy shot from her hand, fast and sharp like a laser, straight toward Zorthan. It hit his chest and pushed him back. Only a little, but it made him take a step. For the first time, Zorthan stepped back. He growled. "You dare." He charged. Zorthan's giant hand came down like a hammer. But Mina was fast. She flipped through the air like a feather in the wind. Her body moved with grace and speed no human soldier had ever shown. Zorthan's hand missed and crushed the ground instead. The earth cracked. Mina landed on his arm and ran up toward his shoulder. She was so small on his massive body, but she moved like light. With another spark from her pendant, she sent a shockwave into Zorthan's shoulder. He roared. "What are you?" Mina looked at him and said softly, "I'm human." The world reacts. People all around the world screamed and cheered. Hope returned to their faces. A little girl, one of their own, was fighting back. And winning. News channels replayed the scene again and again. Soldiers who had lost all faith now raised their heads. "She's giving us a chance," one whispered. "She's not just fighting. She's protecting us," said another. Back at the underground bunker, scientists studied the energy from her attacks. "It's not alien," one said. "It's something more. It's like heart, spirit, and energy mixed together. It's human, but evolved." Zorthan gets serious. Zorthan stepped back. His armor hummed. His body cracked with red lightning. "You are strong for a child," he said. "Too strong. I will not hold back." From his back, long silver spikes appeared. His arms grew larger. His eyes turned from red to dark black. "Now you face my true form." The ground shook. The air buzzed with danger. Mina floated higher. She did not look afraid. She touched her pendant once. "It's time." Cliffhanger ending. Just as Zorthan charged again, the screen went black. A single voice whispered, "The real battle is only beginning." The world held its breath. Zorthan stood tall, his form now glowing with energy. His body crackled with dark power, and his massive fist swung through the air. Minna's small frame floated above the ground, glowing with blue light. She had been pushed back by his last attack, but she was not defeated. She was changing. Zorthan roared in frustration. He slammed the ground with his fist, sending cracks and dust flying into the air. "You will not win," he yelled. "You are nothing compared to me." Minna didn't speak. She looked down at her pendant. The blue light pulsed faster. The pendant's true power. Deep within the pendant, something stirred. A hidden power inside the glowing crystal began to wake up. Minna's hands trembled slightly as she felt the surge of energy. The pendant was more than just a symbol, it was the key. For the first time, Minna understood. The voice in her head, the whispers that had guided her during her training, became clearer. This was it. This was what the Eleri had left behind. She closed her eyes. "The Guardian's power," she whispered. The pendant glowed brighter, and the ground below her feet began to shake. Waves of blue energy rippled through the air, spreading outward. Zorthan saw the change and hesitated. His confidence wavered as Minna's glow became blinding. "No, this is impossible," he shouted, trying to block the light with his arm. But the power from the pendant was too strong. The energy didn't just come from Minna. It was like the pendant was connected to the earth itself, a deep, ancient force. The earth awakens. Suddenly, the ground beneath them shook again. But this time, it wasn't just Minna's power. It was something older, something ancient. All around the world, the earth's forces began to stir. The oceans rose. The mountains groaned. Even the skies seemed to darken as if they were aware of the battle taking place. People watching from around the globe felt it. A shift, a change. The earth was alive, alive with the energy of the pendant. "It's the earth fighting back," one scientist said, staring at his screen. "Minna's not alone," another whispered. Minna opened her eyes. She felt the power flowing through her, stronger than ever before. The pendant was no longer just a tool. It was a bridge to something far greater. Her hand raised. Zorthan tried to move, but the energy around him was too powerful. The air crackled. The earth itself seemed to be closing in on him. "This is where you fall," Minna said softly. The final attack. Zorthan's eyes glowed with rage. He knew the battle was turning against him, but he wasn't ready to give up. "You think you can defeat me? I am Zorthan. I cannot be beaten by a child," he screamed. With a roar, Zorthan unleashed his full power. Energy surged around his body, dark and destructive. He fired a massive beam from his chest, a stream of black energy that tore through the sky toward Minna. But Minna was ready. The blue light around her grew brighter, stronger. She held up her hand, palm open, and focused all her power into it. The beam from Zorthan's chest met the energy from Minna's hand. The world watched as the two forces collided, light against darkness. The moment of truth. For a moment, everything was still. The sky turned black. The earth trembled. The energy from both sides swirled together, creating a huge storm of power. Zorthan's face twisted in disbelief. Impossible. He tried to push more energy into his attack, but it was no use. Minna's power was unstoppable. With a final push, the blue light from the pendant surged forward like a wave crashing against the shore. Zorthan screamed. The darkness around him shattered. The black energy beam was consumed by the light, and Zorthan was thrown back, crashing into the ground with a thunderous impact. Zorthan's defeat. Minna hovered in the air, her pendant still glowing with bright blue light. Zorthan lay on the ground, his armor cracked and smoking. He struggled to rise, but his strength had failed him. The alien invader, who had once thought he could conquer Earth, was now defeated. The world watched in silence. Mina floated down slowly, landing on the ground. She didn't look at Zorthan. Instead, she looked at the sky. The Earth was still. The storm had passed. People cheered. They shouted her name. Mina. Mina. The aftermath. Zorthan, defeated and powerless, lay at her feet. He was no longer a threat to Earth. Mina stood tall, her eyes focused and calm. The pendant around her neck was no longer glowing. It had dimmed to a soft light, as if it had done its job. For a moment, everything was quiet. And then Mina spoke, her voice soft but powerful. This is what happens when you challenge humanity. The Earth had won. The child had saved the planet. But in the shadows, another danger waited. The world cheered. Mina had won. The invader Zorthan was defeated, lying on the ground, powerless. Earth had been saved by the smallest warrior imaginable, a child. The sky slowly began to clear, and the storm of energy faded. Mina stood in the center of the battlefield, her glowing pendant the only sign of the power she had unleashed. But something was wrong. The celebration on Earth was short-lived. It didn't take long for the first whispers to spread. A strange signal. Back in the command center, the world's leaders gathered around large screens. The generals, scientists, and military officers were all watching the same thing. A signal. A signal that came from space. It's coming from the farthest reaches of the galaxy, one scientist said, eyes wide in confusion. But we just defeated Zorthan. This can't be possible, another officer said. The signal was faint but clear. It wasn't just a warning. It was a message, and it was directed straight at Earth. We are aware of your victory, humans, but this is far from over. The room fell silent. No one knew who had sent the message. No one knew what it meant. The message. The screen blinked, and a face appeared. This one was not human. A tall, thin figure with glowing yellow eyes. Their skin was dark, like the shadows of space itself. You may have defeated Zorthan. But that was only the beginning, the figure said, their voice cold and deep. The true invaders have not yet arrived. The room went still. Everyone watched as the figure continued speaking. We have been watching. We know your strength, but you are weak. Your greatest warrior, a child, is nothing against what is coming. Prepare yourselves for the true test. The transmission ended. The leaders panic. Earth's leaders stared at the screen, their faces pale. The message was clear, but the words had not sunk in yet. What do they mean? One general whispered, trembling. We've only just defeated Zorthan. We don't have time for this. What else is out there? The tension in the room grew thick. But then, one scientist spoke up. It's not over. They've been watching us. They know we're not as weak as they thought. We need to prepare, but we need more information. We need to find out who they are. But how? One officer asked. We don't even know where the signal came from. The scientist shook his head. We don't have much time. We have to go on the offensive. We'll need Mina. Mina's decision. Mina had been resting, unaware of the message. She was sitting in a small, safe house with her mother when the call came. Mina, we need you, the general said urgently over the phone. The battle isn't over. We need you to help us. There's another force, and they're coming for us. Mina stood up immediately. She could feel the weight of what was happening. The pendant on her chest pulsed softly, a reminder that there was something far more powerful inside her than even she knew. Her mother looked at her, worried. Are you sure you're ready for this? You've already done so much. Mina nodded. She knew what she had to do. She was the only one who could stop this. I'm ready, Mina said quietly. We don't have a choice. A new enemy. The message had been sent by an alien race known as the Valari, a ruthless species far more powerful than Zorthan. They had watched the humans for centuries, waiting to see if Earth would fall. Now that they had seen the strength of the humans, they were ready to strike. The Valari were known for one thing: conquering worlds with fear. They had no mercy. They took what they wanted and left nothing behind but ruins. And now they were coming for Earth. Mina prepares for the next battle. Mina stood in front of a large command ship. The general was beside her, his eyes filled with worry, but also respect. He had seen her fight. He knew she was their best chance. "We've never faced an enemy like this before," he said. "But you've already proven that you can defeat the impossible." Mina nodded. She didn't say anything. She simply closed her eyes, holding her pendant tightly in her hand. "The pendant gives me power, but it also warns me," she said quietly. "Something darker is coming. I can feel it." The general took a deep breath. "We'll be ready." But deep inside, he wasn't so sure. The Valari weren't just stronger, they were smarter, and they had a dark secret of their own. Mina was their only hope. But was that enough? The threat grows. As the days passed, the Valari ships began to appear on the edges of Earth's orbit, dark, massive, and imposing. They blocked out the stars. They were here, and they were ready for war. On Earth, people watched from their windows, their hearts pounding. They had no idea how they would fight back. But Mina knew. "This time, I won't fight alone," she whispered to herself. "I'll fight with everything Earth has." She tightened her grip on the pendant, feeling its power surge once more. The real battle for Earth was about to begin.